Hello there, amazing students. All right, so I want you to treat this like I'm in person. You're not just copying me, you're not just listening, because you're definitely not learning if you're just listening. You need to be doing it as well. So you should have these slides with you on paper. Get it, you got it from the substitute teacher, okay, and you are following along. So it says, what is the equation of a in point slope form? So before I even continue, I'm gonna write point slope form down. Perpendicular. Before I even continue, what do I know about perpendicular lines? They have negative reciprocal slopes. 3x plus 2y equals 10. Well, what's the slope of this line? If you said negative 3 over 2, you are correct. If you cannot look at it and know that, then you need to take this equation, which you're going to do anyways in the future here in a moment, and you're going to change it to y equals mx plus b until you are comfortable understanding how to get it by just looking at the equation. So here you go. Here's that negative 3 over 2. Okay, your slope. Okay, so that's what we're going to use, but we need the negative reciprocal of that. So the slope we're actually going to use is positive 2 over 3. Okay, and the next thing, I think I want to change this point so we can avoid fractions and decimals right now. I'm going to change this to negative 9/8. And we always label it xy. Oh, you know what? Actually, forget that. We're not going to change it. Leave it alone. Because we're going to put this in point slope form, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so if it's in point slope form, it'll be y. Oh, but we always want to label our x and y. Y minus 8 equals 2/3 x plus 10. If you got that, give yourself a pat on the back. All right, cool. So what we're going to do today is graph linear inequalities, okay? And for us to graph linear inequalities, we have a couple of rules. Here's our rules. Okay, so what I would do is make sure I write all these down right now in my notes. Even though I gave you a paper with this on there, go ahead and write it in your notebook, because most of you are going to lose the paper, and it'll just be better if you had it to look back in your notebook. Okay, so if I see the less than sign, I'm shading below the line because it's less than, and I have a dashed line. Less than or equal to is I'm shading below the line, but it's going to be a solid line because it's equal to. Greater than, shade above the line. It's going to be a dashed line. Greater than or equal to, shade above, solid line. So let me tell you what I mean. Here's our first example. Y is less than 1/2 x plus 10. Let's start off by saying, okay, this is a less than symbol. According to my rules, I'm going to shade below the line, and this is going to be a dashed line. So first, and I hope, again, you should be following along, answering the questions I'm asking you, okay? So first, my first question would be, what's the y-intercept of the line? The y-intercept is 10. Let's see, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, you can't see 10 on this, so let's change this to 8 so that we can actually see the point on the line. Okay, so the y-intercept, I changed it to 8, so I'm going to first plot my point at positive 8. Then the slope is 1/2. So I can go up 1 over 2, or I can go down 1 to the left 2, right, to make that positive slope. Okay, and I'm just doing all the points I can. Now, instead of connecting this with a solid line, I wrote down that I need to be connecting this with a dashed line because it's not equal to. So dashed line. And then, which way am I shading? Below the line. So let me see if I can get kind of a purplish color here. That's good enough. Okay. And let's make this a little bigger so I'm not having to do the most here. Okay, so, Okay, so we're going to be shading below the line. I'm sorry, I can't do that. This is too thick. Too thick. I know I'm being particular, my bad. Let's do this. Let's see. Okay, that's a little better. And I don't like that color. Sorry, guys. Okay, here we go. Let's see now. Okay, that's better. Okay, and I'm shading below the line. This means any point that is in the shaded region would be part of the solution to this equation or this inequality. Any point in the shaded region would be a solution in this inequality. So, for example, if I asked you, is the point 1, 2, 1, 2, is that part of the solution? Well, 1, 2 would be in the shaded region, so yes. If I asked you if, let's see, -5, 6 was a part of the solution, -5, +6 is outside the shaded area, so that is not in the solution. What if I asked you at the point -2, 7 was a part of the solution? You should notice -2, 7 is on the dashed line. Is that part of the solution, though? The answer would be no, because it's not equal to this line. That's why it's a dashed line. If this was a solid line, then yes, if it's on the solid line, it would be a part of the solution. Okay, let's keep going. Let's try some more. This one is in point slope form. Okay, so first thing I notice is a greater than or equal to sign, so I know I'm shading above. Shading above, and I know that this is going to be a solid line. Okay, so here's my first question. What point is that equation giving us? If you said -7 and +3, you are correct. So let's go plot that point. -7, -7, +3 would be right here. And then what slope do we have? 2. And how can I write 2 as a fraction? 2 over 1. So I'm going to go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, right? And I can go down 2 to the left one to give me that positive slope. Okay? Now, is this a dashed line or a solid line? Solid line, because it's equal to, right? In which way am I shading? Above the line. Okay. So my first question is the point 1, 2 in the solution set? No, because that is outside the shaded region. What about the point -10, 1? Is that in the solution set? Yes, because that is in the shaded region. What about the point -7, 3? Yes, because it's on the solid line. Okay, so therefore it is part of the solution because it is equal to. If you did not feel comfortable graphing it in this format, remember you could have changed it to y equals mx plus b. Okay, you could have changed it into y equals mx plus b, but the issue here is the y-intercept would have been, oops, not greater than or equal to 2x plus 17. We would have been able to put that on this graph, okay? Oops. All right, now we have it in standard form. But I want you to not just be like, oh, the slope is -4 over 3, and the y-intercept is -2. Let's go plot it, yada, yada, yada. Because I want to make sure we change this to y equals mx plus b, and you're about to see why. So if I want to change this into y equals mx plus b form, I'm going to subtract 4x Negative 3y is greater than 6 minus 4x. And what am I going to do after that? Divide by negative 3. Oh no, wait a minute. When I'm dividing by negative 3, what's going to happen to this inequality sign? It's gonna flip. So it's going to say y is less than negative 2 plus 4/3 x. That is why we need to change it to y equals mx plus b form. So we're actually going to be shading below the line, and this will be a dashed line. All right, so let's graph it. Pause it, and graph it, okay? So the y-intercept is at negative 2. The slope is positive 4/3, so up 4 over 3. Up 4 over 3. Down 4 over 3. Okay, dashed line. And which way are we shading? Below the line. Okay, so I hope you realize it's just graphing, but with a couple more rules to it. All right. All right. And then let's see. Oops. Systems of linear inequalities. So when you see the word systems, it means more than one. Okay. So we're gonna graph more than one, and we're gonna do it in different colors here. Okay. And then we'll almost be finished. So I'm gonna do green this time for this first one. Okay. So big things. Pause the video, try to do it yourself. We're going to be shading below. And this is going to be a dashed line. The y-intercept is negative 4. Slope is positive 2. So let's go graph it. So negative 4, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. Okay. And you don't have to graph this many points. I just want to try to make my line as straight as possible. So I need some guidance here. And it's a dashed line. And we're shading below. Let me get some green in here. Let's see. Shading below the line. Okay, again, you should have already paused it and try to do it yourself before you are just waiting on me to do it, okay? All right, and then let's go back to this pinkish color that I had, pink purple. Because why not? All right. Okay, so for this one, again, we want to change it. So minus 2x, minus 2x. Let's make this a little bigger for me. 3y is greater than or equal to 6 minus 2x. Divide by 3. Y is greater than or equal to 2 minus 2/3 x. Okay, so that means we're shading above. And it's going to be a solid line. Y-intercept is 2. Slope is negative 2/3. So let's go graph it. Y-intercept is 2. Slope is negative 2/3, so down 2 over 3. Down 2 over 3. Up 2 to the left 3. Okay, if you ever question, like, what direction do I go? Well, which direction would make a negative or a positive slope, right? So you're not guessing. You're actually have a reason to why you're doing it this way. Oh, my solid line's a little off, but hey, it's okay. All right, and then we're shading above the line. Shading above the line. Where do you think the solution to these system of equations are? If you said where they're both shaded, you are correct. Okay, so this region where the green and the purple are together, this would be where the solution is to this system of inequalities, okay? Let's do one more. One more. All right. Again, try to pause it. Try to pause it. I'll just change this to black. All right, so x minus 2y is greater than 4. Let's change that into y equals mx plus b4. Before we say, oh, it's shaded this way, let's change it. So subtracting x from both sides. Dividing by -2 on both sides. And what happens when I divide by that negative? The inequality is going to flip. Hope everyone can understand why I got 1/2 x, right? Because I have that invisible 1 in front of that x. Okay, so I'm going to be shading below. And it'll be a dashed line. Okay, so graph that on your notes. So y-intercept is -2, up 1/2. And I'm sorry y'all can't see my movements, so hopefully y'all are catching on because we've already done this in class. Okay, and shade it below. All right, and then the other one, let's use purple. I don't know, I'm in the purple mood today. All right, and so we already know this is shaded below. Y-intercept is at -7, slope is at 4. So -7, slope of 4, up 4 over 1, up 4 over 1, up 4 over 1, up 4 over 1. And what was it? A shaded below, and it's a dashed line. We didn't write that down. Dashed line, shaded below. So this little darker area where they both connect would be the solution. All right, so on your assignment today, you are graphing. So you need to make sure that you understood. Talk with your neighbors to make sure they understand. Due at the end of class. Adios.